Hello students, welcome to the part 4 of the circulatory system. In today's lecture we are going to discuss like how the heart produces up the sound. Okay, in the last lecture we have studied about circulation, how the circulation takes place, but in today's lecture we are going to discuss like how the heart produces up the sound. Okay, so often we have seen this part. So when the doctor places up his stethoscope, okay, on your right side of your chest, so you hear some sound. So what are the sound called as? They are called as lambda. Okay, lambda. So this is the heart. Okay, this is a septum. These are the valves. Okay, this part which I am making it dark, these are the valves. This right side part is called the tricuspid valve and the left hand side part is called the bicuspid valve. See, when the blood is in the atrium part here near the right and the left atrium, at that period of a time this valves open. Okay, when this atrium get full, this atrium part get full, so this tricuspid and bicuspid opens together, so it produces a sound called lub. Okay, when this dub sound is get produced when the blood is in the ventricular part. Okay, when the blood is in the ventricular part, at that period of a time, from the right atrium it get transported. Okay, from the right atrium it get transported to the pulmonary semilunar valve. Okay, and when the blood is in the left ventricle, so it transport through the aortic semilunar valve. It has to pass through this aortic semilunar valve. At the period of a time when pulmonary semilunar valve and the aortic semilunar valve both get close together, at that period of a time the sound produced is called dub. Now we have done about the systole and diastole. So today we are going to start with the pacemaker. What is exactly the pacemakers? See, pacemaker concept is very important. Okay, 1 marker, any objective based question can come from here. One of the objective based question is the impulse or the command which starts the heartbeat arise in the dash. Okay, so it is a pacemaker, the answer is. But what exactly means the pacemaker? Pacemaker, see, different person have different amount of the heart. Okay, why the heartbeat of the person differs from person to person? The reason is very simple, due to his physical activities, okay, or due to the age. Okay, when a person is getting too old, so at that period of a time the heartbeat becomes less. Okay, so it does not impulse, the heart does not throb too much in the olden age. But when you are too young, at that period of a time the heartbeat keeps on moving. Why it keeps on moving? Why it always keeps on providing the impulses? Because you are young, you are quite energetic, you do lot of physical work than the old people, so that is why your heart keep on throbbing a lot. So this regulation of maintaining up the heartbeat is done through the pacemaker. Okay, so they might ask you the location part, so where is pacemaker located? So pacemaker is located in the walls of the right auricle. What is right auricle? This part here we can see this is SA node. No? This SA node is also called as pacemaker. Okay, this SA node, and we can see this is the right side. Okay, this is the right side and we can see a node out here. Okay, so what happens? What is the exact function of this pacemaker? See, when the blood, see, this is an electrical impulses. So what is the function of this SA node? When the SA node, this is a node, and the blood which is there inside this right atrium, at that period of a time it moves to the right ventricle. So when the blood wants to move into the right ventricle, so we can see this AV node out here. What is AV? AV stands for atrioventricular node. What does that mean? Atrioventricular node. What is the function of this atrioventricular node? See, when the first impulse is created by the SA node, and where is this AV node presented? Near the in between the junction, okay, the junction between the atrium and the ventricular, okay. And from this AVN node there are the bundle, okay, the bundle of fiber which is called the bundle of His that arises out here. We can see out here, see there are the bundle of His. This AV node give rise to many of these fibers here, and this bundle of His is called Purkinje network, okay. Where is this Purkinje network present? The Purkinje network is present here in the ventricular region, here, this ventricular region, okay. Since it is present in the ventricular region, since this is present in the ventricular region, this ventricular region here, here they are called the bundle of His, and they are present out here. This creates the impulses, okay. This helps to regulate up the heartbeat, that how fast your heart is throbbing in, okay. This helps to control up. If your heartbeats are too fast, so how to make it normal? The pacemaker comes into an action. If your heartbeats are too low, then again how to regulate into the normal heartbeat? So again the pacemaker is going to work, okay. In old age, the people's pacemaker gets faulty, so you don't have to worry about this part. There is an artificial pacemakers which has been fixed into the heart of such a person, so that heartbeats keep on regulating, and it can produce up the throbbing effect of the heart. Now the types of the blood vessels: arteries, veins, capillaries, okay. Arteries, veins and capillaries, these are the three main blood vessels. What I said to the blood vessels, they are the road, okay. What is the function of the road? The function of the road is to transport the blood to each and every part, okay. So same like that, this arteries, veins and capillaries function. Now we are going to discuss the artery, veins and capillaries in detail. So before starting of this part, just look at this diagram perfectly. This is artery which is red in color. This is the vein side which is blue in color, okay. It is moving inside the artery. Why it is moving inside the artery? Because arteries only carry the deoxygenated blood, artery only carries the oxygenated blood, whereas these veins are blue color. Why it is blue color? Because it always carry the deoxygenated blood. So it is moving away from the body, it is moving to the heart, and this part is coming from the heart, okay. The vein carries blood toward the heart, towards, and artery carries from the heart, okay. And if you can see, there are the arteries and the veins, so there is a junction got created which is full of this arteries and veins mixture, okay. These junctions are called the capillaries, because capillaries are one which is present at the junction of the arteries and vein, where both happens, okay. The oxygenated part and deoxygenated part of the blood works together. Now this is the different type of a structure, and this is very important, because this structures always comes in your exam. Now we can see out here, first we are going to discuss about the artery. The arteries wall are quite thick. We can see out here the outer wall is quite thick. Why it has to be thick? Because it has to transport the blood to each and every part of the body, okay. So it has to be thick. it has the small lumen. What do you mean by lumen? Lumen means nothing but a central bore, means the space through which the blood is going to get passed. Small lumen. Why it has a small lumen? Because it has to exert a lot amount of a force, because arteries only carry the oxygenated blood, and this oxygenated blood is transported to each and every part of the body. So that is why the lumen is quite small, and it has the thick layer of the muscles, and they are elastic in nature, so that the blood does not get flows out. Okay, it moves in the same direction. That is the unidirection. Now we are going to discuss about the veins part. See the veins. If you look at the vein, they have the thin layer. Okay, why the veins are thin? Because it carries only deoxygenated blood. Okay, it has large lumen. What do you mean by lumen? The space, as I said, okay, through which the blood flows. It has large lumen because it does not have to exert a lot amount of the force. Large and now we are going to discuss about the capillaries. So capillaries are very thin in nature. Okay, their walls are single layer of cell. They are very thin, very, okay, and they have very small lumen because it has to part only a small amount of a blood, not a huge amount of a blood it has to transport. It just have to transport the small amount of the blood. From oxygenated it gets converted into deoxygenated, and from there it passes to the heart. So the lumen should be very small. Now arteries and veins, what are the difference between? So arteries always carry the oxygenated blood, whereas the vein always carries the deoxygenated blood. As I said in the last lecture, there is some exception. Pulmonary artery is the only artery which carry deoxygenated blood, and pulmonary vein is the only vein which carry oxygenated blood. Usually arteries have the bright red color blood, and veins have the dark red. The elastic wall that expand with the surge of blood. The walls of the veins are thin. Why they are thin? Because it does not carry the oxygenated blood, and it does not have to transport to the body. In fact, it has to bring the blood towards the heart. Arteries have no valves, okay, and veins have the valves. So what is the function of these valves? The function of these valves is like a door, as I said in the last lecture. These valves prevent the backflow of the blood, so that the blood flows in a single direction, that is the unidirectional. Okay, arteries can feel a pulse and no pulse. Now what is pulse? We are going to study that in detail. Now characteristics of an capillary. As I already said, the wall is single layer. Single layer wall means what? The wall is very thin. Okay, single layer wall means the wall is very thin. It is made up of the squamous epithelial cell. What is squamous? Last year there was a chapter called tissue. In that they have the squamous part. Squamous means flat. Epithelial means the upper part. Okay, epithelial means the upper part of the skin. The upper part. So it is the single layer, and it is made of the squamous epithelial cells. And it does not have any muscles. Okay, why it does not have any muscles? Because the blood capillaries in your bodies are numerous in number. Okay, they are millions and billions in numbers, so it is not possible to accommodate so much capillaries, okay, which is full of muscles. So that is why they does not have a muscles. They does not have a muscles, and their basic function is they lies at the junction. Okay, they lies at the junction of the arteries and the veins. Now we are going to study about the capillaries function. As the walls are very thin, so diffusion of oxygen outward and inward diffusion of carbon dioxide takes place. So what does that mean? See, I am going to help you out with this part. Outward diffusion of oxygen. outward diffusion of oxygen and inward diffusion of the carbon dioxide. Now, as we can see out here in this diagram, these are the capillaries which are made, okay, and there are more one vessels which are called the lymph vessel. In the start lecture I have said, okay, in the part 1 I mean to say lymph. So there is the space between them. So these capillaries transport the oxygen, okay, transport the oxygen, and they get transported into the lymph, okay, because lymph is a nutritive fluid, so it provides them the oxygen, these capillaries, the outward diffusion of oxygen. And when any of the waste which is there inside the lymph, any of the waste which is there inside the lymph, it get transported back to the capillaries, the outward diffusion of carbon dioxide, okay. So this basically capillary, the function of this capillary is outward diffusion of oxygen and inward diffusion of carbon dioxide. And here the diffusion of substances also takes place. What do you mean by substances? Substances means the nutritive part or the toxic part, like glucose, amino acids, they are useful, but urea is not useful, so it should be thrown out of the body to the function of this. And here WBCs also gets leak out, okay. What we call that term as, when the WBCs leak out of the blood capillaries, we call that term as diaphydesis. Diaphydesis. And what is the function of WBC? As I said, they are the soldier, they are the army of our body, they work for the defense part. Now we are going to start with a new concept that is called the double circulation, and this is very interesting, and sure question can also come from this part. See, here are some of the naming, okay. So first, what we are going to understand, see, this is the heart, this part is the heart, okay. This is the right side of the heart, this part which is blue in color, and this is the red part, means the left hand side, which is carrying the oxygenated blood. Now first understand that part, and this, and what is this, I am going to help you out with this part first. So first we will understand what is going to happen. See, we have studied about this part, that the blood moves in and out of the heart, okay, towards also and from also. So what happens here? So this is the right atrium which I am marking out here, and the blood, see these arrows I am making out here so that it can help you out. These are the arrows. This is moving toward the right atrium. What this is called as? This is called as the vena cava, okay. See the labeling part 1. This one is vena cava because it is bringing the blood towards the heart, that is on the right hand side. The first you got, okay. Now what happens then? When the blood moves from right atrium to right ventricle, okay, for getting oxygenated, it moves to the lung, okay. So when the blood is in the right ventricle, here right ventricle, so it moves to the lungs, okay. When it moves to the lung, so that vessel is called as the pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery carries the blood toward the lungs. From lungs it carries up the oxygenated blood. It moves to the left atrium. Okay, when the blood moves to the left atrium at that period of a time, so this lungs is connected with a vessel, that is the 3-1. It is called the pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein, what is the function? It carries the oxygenated blood toward the heart on the left side. So when the blood reaches on the left side, that is the left atrium, it moves into the ventricle. From ventricle it transports the blood to each and every part of the body through the aorta. So the part number 2 is aorta. See, part number 2 is aorta through the body. So basically, why it is known as the double circulation? Because see, it occurs in a series of a step. Because it occurs in a series of a steps. This C part, okay, what was this C? This C was lungs. And what was this A? Okay, A you can assume as a body, okay, body part. A you can assume as a body. And between this lungs and body, what is located? Heart is located. So many diagrammatical question can be asked from this part. So basically this fourth and third, if you are going to assume, so this fourth one is the pulmonary artery, and this is known, the third one is known as the pulmonary vein. So that is why it is called as the pulmonary circulation. Okay, pulmonary circulation. But here, because the word pulmonary means lungs, but if you notice this part, the 1 and 2, the 1 is the vena cava and 2 is the aorta. 1 is the vena cava, 2 is the aorta, and it supplies, see, it is coming the blood from the body, and this vein is taking the blood from the heart towards the body part. Okay, so this is from the body part it is coming, and this vein, this one, it is taking the blood towards the body part. So this system is related to body, so that is why it has been called as the systemic circulation. Why it has been called as the systematic circulation? Because the word systematic means the system, the body system, okay, the system which is related to body. So that is why it is called the systematic circulation. So this occurs simultaneously. What do you mean by that? Means together. So blood flows twice in the heart before it completes one full round. Okay, that is the pulmonary circulation and the systematic circulation, and they together togetherly called as the double circulation part. Okay, this is the pulmonary circulation, which is from lungs, and systematic means from the body parts. Here instead of body, this they can give you any of the name. Okay, might they give you related the name to kidney. Okay, they might draw the kidney here part, and they tell you to name this. So what we have to do, so the name then changes. Okay, the name then changes. How we have the pulmonary vein, so same like that we can have a renal vein. Okay, we can have the renal vein. How we have the pulmonary artery, so we can have the renal artery if it is related to kidneys. If it is related to kidneys, because the kidneys mean renal only. But if it is related to the liver, so it is called hepatic. What does hepatic means? Hepatic means liver. Okay, hepatitis, jaundice I mean to say. Hepatitis C means jaundice. Okay, we have studied in the last year. So तो hepatic means liver, तो there could be hepatic vein or hepatic artery. Now we are going to study about this part. Hepatic portal system is very important. So before starting of this hepatic portal system, let's understand what do you mean by this portal system. The portal system means what? Suppose these are the capillaries which I am drawing out here. This is a blood vessel, and again I am going to draw this blood capillaries. Okay. So if you are going to see, the start is the blood capillary here and the end is the blood capillary out here, and in between this there is a vessel which is nothing but a vein only. So it is called as portal vein. Okay, what is a portal vein? Which start from a capillaries and end with the capillaries. It has been called as the portal vein. This is a one marker question. And when this word hepatic comes, when it is related to the liver part. See, suppose I am talking about the gut. And I am going to talk about the liver. What do you mean by gut? Gut means the abdominal region which consists of your stomach and intestinal part, small intestine and the large intestine, gut means. So when it starts from the gut, okay, when the blood is in the gut, means I mean to say the stomach region, so it first entered into the liver. Okay, it does not transport blood directly to the heart, it enters into the liver. Why it enters into the liver? Because liver is directly connected with the heart. Okay, and this from gut to liver, this part is called the hepatic portal system. Okay, so the stomach do not convey the blood directly to the heart, instead of that it transport the blood to the liver, and from this liver it get toxified and it goes into the heart, because liver helps to toxify any of the blood. If suppose there is any of the urea which gets accumulated, so this liver flushes out that part, which is not of any use. So basically this is the diagram. I know it seems very complicated, but we will try to understand this part. See here, if you notice that part, if you notice this part, this is the hepatic portal vein, this is the liver. Okay, this is the intestinal region. So we can see this stomach and the intestine means the gut part. So here we can see there is a capillary. In the intestine also we can see the capillaries. There is a vein, and in the liver again the capillary is there. Okay, and this capillary is directly connected, and this capillary, see, this capillary is directly connected with this vein, and this vein carries the blood to the anterior vena cava. Anterior, you might be aware about this part. We have discussed in the last lecture. Okay, what do you mean by the anterior vena cava? That is means the superior vena cava. Okay, so if you notice this part, this is a capillary, this is a capillary, and in between this there is the vein. See what I said, there should be a capillary in the start, there should be a vein in between, and again there would be a capillary. Okay, so this part would be called as the portal system, but if it is related to the liver, so it would be called as the hepatic portal system. See here, Now we are going to study about the pulse. What do you mean by pulse? Pulse is the alternative expansion and the elastic recoil of the wall of the artery during the ventricular systole. The definition is too dangerous. But what is the function of the pulse? Pulse helps to count out the heartbeat. Okay? Pulse helps to count out the heartbeat. So you have seen this part. In this diagram you can see a person with his index finger, okay, with his index finger, and this part is related to the thumb, okay, and this is the wrist region. So there is an artery here, it is present, which is called as the radial artery. What is the function of this radial artery? The radial artery is connected to the heart, which helps you to actually measure the heartbeat. Okay, this arteries helps to know about the how much force the blood is moving inside the heart. Now, blood pressure. What do you mean by blood pressure? See, first, it's a basic physics part. Okay, pressure equals to force upon area. Okay, pressure equal to force upon area. So what is the definition of the pressure? Pressure is the force exerted per unit area. Okay, suppose let's take an example to understand it more perfectly. Suppose I am taking a bottle which is full of water. And I am going to take an identical bottle, means the same size, same shape, everything same, but this bottle is halfly filled. And if you try to measure the weight, okay, so who would be more heavier? Definitely on the beam balance it would be more heavier. So what does this shows? This shows that the bottle which is full of water is exerting a lot of pressure, so that is why the beam balance is on the lower side, whereas the beam balance in the upper side, because the bottle out here is not completely full and it is not exerting up the pressure. So this is the pressure. Now what do you mean by blood related pressure? See, as we all know very well now, the arteries carry the oxygenated blood, so with the force it has to carry. Okay, this is the blood vessel. Suppose this is an artery. So inside the artery, what is going to flow? Definitely blood is going to flow. So how much pressure it is exerting on the walls of the artery helps to know about the blood pressure. Okay. There is a normal range of the blood pressure, that is around 120 to 80 mmHg. Mm means what? Millimeter of mercury. 120/80 millimeter of mercury. What is this 120 called as? Systolic pressure. And what is this 80 called as? Diastolic pressure. Now let's assume, okay, why this number is quite greater, why this is 120? Because we know this heart part, this part, I mean to say the left ventricular part, the left ventricular part has to pump the blood to each and every part of the body, so definitely it has to exert a lot of pressure. So that is why this, so when this ventricular part get contracted, at that period of a time it has to exert a lot of force, so that is why it is called as the systolic part. Okay, so that is why this is high. Now as I said, okay, what was 80 was the diastolic pressure. What does that mean? Suppose as I made a heart and I am drawing a valve out here. So when the blood when the blood which got filled, okay, which got filled on the left atrium, it moves into the left ventricle, okay, it moves into the left ventricle. So at that period of a time, if you notice, this left part, this left side of the ventricle gets full. So that is why it is called diastole. What does diastolic means? Relax, because this part got full, okay. So the pressure, because it was left atrium and it has to transport to the left ventricle, so it does not needs a lot amount of the pressure to get exerted. So that is why it is called as the diastole, when the ventricular get diastole, okay, get relaxed. So the pressure is very low, around 80 mmHg. What does 8 mm means? Millimeter of mercury. But there could be a two condition. In some of the cases, a person might feel weak, okay. So when does this person feels weak? When there is no supply, okay, when the heart is pumping but it is not supplying that much amount of the blood to the body part. So this is called the normal, okay. At that period of time, the blood pressure of that person is very low, okay. We can feel out here when the heart is pumping but it is not transporting that much amount of the blood, it is exerting a low pressure. This is called the low pressure, in which the person get feel weak, okay, and the person there can be a problem related to the eyesight also. The person can see blurry, okay, a person who is suffering from the low pressure. And there is one more case. If suppose, as I said, it should be around 120 to 80 in a normal blood pressure of a person. If this number get increased from 120 to 140 and from 80 to 90, so what this condition would be called as? This condition would be called as high blood pressure, high BP, okay, high BP. This high blood pressure is also called as the hypertension. Hypertension, more tension. Hypertension. In this, the blood which is there in the heart pumps with a lot of force, okay. It exerts a lot of force inside the walls of the artery. So because of this, the person get very angry in this condition, okay, and the blood pressure also rises, and the person can suffer with a condition called stroke, okay. You have heard about this word, the sunstroke. It is stroke condition in which the blood pumps with a very high speed and it exerts a high amount of the pressure also. So this is the device through which the blood pressure can be measured. That is the sphygmomanometer, okay. Now if you look at this diagram, it is quite related to the circulatory system only, but there is a difference between this part. This part is related to the lymph, it is not the circulatory system, okay. This part is related to the lymph. See, as we have the circulatory system inside our body, the same way we have the lymph inside the body, okay. What is the function of the lymph? Function of the lymph is to transport the nutritive, it's a very nutritive part, okay, and at the same period of a time it works for the defense part of the body, and this also helps in the absorption of fats, because the absorption of fats is not that easy. We have studied this in the digestive system in your 9th standard. So this lymph is very important. What are the function of the lymph? It provides the nutritive, it supplies the nutrition and oxygen to those part of the body where the blood does not reaches. Example, ears, okay, as the ears are the very small organs, okay, they have the small bones inside them and they are very small, and due to their very small nature the blood does not get transported out there, so the lymph function comes into an act out here, nutrition and oxygen. And drainage part also, drain means to kya, move out. When there is an excessive amount of the tissue fluid and the metabolic, they return the proteins to the blood from the tissue space. I mean to say like this. Drainage, these are the capillaries and these are the lymph channel. Capillaries. So whenever there is an extra amount of the tissue fluid and metabolism, it returns to the blood from the tissue space, means from here. Tissue space means the empty space which is located from between the capillaries and lymph. So it returns up. Now it also helps in the absorption. Okay. See, there was a structure called villi, like this. Inside the villi, there was the lymph. Okay, the function of this lymph was to absorb the fats, because fats does not get easily digested or absorbed into the body. So the function of this lymph is to absorb this extra fats, and they are also called as the lacteals, which is located in the intestinal villi, and they also provide the defense mechanisms. As the lymph is highly composed of the WBCs, that is the lymphocytes and monocytes. What are these lymphocytes and monocytes? They are the types of the WBCs. Okay, and the function of these lymphocytes and monocytes is for the defense part. If suppose any of the bacteria enters into our body, okay, at that period of a time, these WBCs march toward that bacteria and engulf them. That condition is called the phagocytosis, in which the bacteria gets engulfed. Now spleen. See, it is the reddish brown in color, okay, and the location of the spleen is very important. What is the spleen? Spleen is nothing but the lymphatic organ only. Okay, the spleen is a large lymphatic organ. It is about the size of the clenched fist, means like a fist. You have a fist, so it is the size about that. It is located in the abdomen behind the stomach, okay, and above the left kidney. So it is located in the abdomen behind the stomach and above the left kidney. Now the spleen, this is the magnified part of the spleen. As we can see, it is behind the stomach only and on the left side. Now function of the spleen. It acts as a blood reservoir. What does that mean? Suppose in any of the medical emergency, if suppose a person met with a major accident, at that period of time he lose too much of blood from his body. Okay, when the person lose too much of the body blood from the body, so the person should get die, but he often get survive from the operation or from the surgeries. Okay, because the excess amount of the blood is stored in the spleen only, and this excess amount of the blood which is stored in the spleen helps in during this emergency or the major accident situation. It produces lymphocytes, means the WBCs. Okay, it destroys the worn out WBCs. This spleen are also called out, destroys worn out WBCs. They are also called as the graveyards. The spleens are also called as the graveyards. What is the function of these graveyards? The function of the graveyards, suppose if any of the person dies so that person is buried in this graveyard. Okay, so whenever any of the RBCs which is inside our body gets die or damaged or destroyed, so it goes into the spleen. So this was all about the circulatory system. There were in all 4 parts. So we have discussed the circulatory system in detail only. So thank you, students.